Sunday at the Autodrom Most, and the clouds have rolled in firmly. The drivers of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series in both EuroNASCAR 2 and EuroNASCAR Pro have quite the challenge in front of them. It'll be the EuroNASCAR 2 drivers that take to the circuit first for their 14-lap encounter. And I can confirm Sunday morning looking more like a lake than a race circuit. The 2.6 miles and 4.2 kilometers of the Autodrom Most. It's going to be a challenging day for all parties concerned.
Hello, welcome race fans. I'm here with Mr. Consistency in EuroNASCAR 2, Jill Linster. 7 races, 7 top 5 results, 2 podiums. What's the secret behind that?
Well, actually, I don't really have a secret. I try to stay in the top 5. It's horrible that this P4 is following me. But yeah, consistency is right now still the key point to get a lot of points for the championship.
First year with Hendrix Motorsport, and how is it, the team chemistry, and how are you involved in the team to create the setup for you and Liam?
Yeah, that's amazing. I have Loris. I think I have a EuroNASCAR champion on my side. That helps me a lot. Liam, for me, it's the greatest talent that we have in EuroNASCAR. For sure, he will be the champion. Maybe not this year. It will be a little tough for him, but for sure, we will see him winning the championship.
And what about you? When is the first race win coming?
Hopefully today.
High hopes then for Jill Linster, but it's Martin Dubek on pole position. The grid for Sunday formed by the fastest laps from Saturday, and Martin Dubek on the pace here at the Autodrom Most in the race yesterday. But difficult conditions for all parties. I think this race is going to be dramatic. The first lap of the race held under safety car conditions, so it's a single file start to this one. Dufro, Siortsis, Nasker, Linster and Schauber, your top 6 as the race begins. Martin Dubek leads towards the first corner. He takes the inside line to give Paul Dufro no choice but to try and go around the outside. Dufro, a bit too late on the brakes there. We've already seen him shortcut the chicane once this weekend. We can now make it twice. Just a bit too ambitious there, under braking into the first turn. Martin Dubek will lead. And, damage there for Nick Schneider's 46 car. Schneider, I think, has had contact with somebody on the main straight. Unfortunately, I don't think his car is going to go much further as a result. But look at how difficult these conditions are. Alberto Nasker, he's closing in already on Paul Dufro. Dufro, of course, taking that short cross across the first chicane, but I don't think he gained any sort of advantage. He is, however, under immense pressure from Nasker. A little bit of a love tap there between the two of them. Martin Dubek loves this. These two can battle all they want, he's thinking. It allows him to build an advantage at the front here on home turf. Unsurprisingly, given the amount of damage, Schneider has pulled over. And Nasker trying to go all the way around the outside at turn 15. Very nicely done by Alberto Nasker. Nasker carrying all of the speed and more. He made that look very easy, and that's not a good sign for Martin Dubek. Nasker was out in the race just prior to this EuroNASCAR 2 event in one of the Little Legend cars. So he's got some recent track experience, and I wonder if that plays into the hands of the Italian driver a little bit, that he's just been out there on the circuit, albeit in a wildly different car. Claudio Remeggio Capelli also was out there in that race. So a couple doubling up across the Legends and the EuroNASCAR 2 category. Alberto Nasker up to second place. Vladimiros Siortsis a little further down the order, just struggling to get the power down. A good illustration of how hard it is out there, and look at just how little visibility there is as well. Is his car suffering an issue? We heard that he had a gearbox issue on Saturday, and it sounds to me, yeah, no power coming through that box, I don't think. Issues for Vladimiros Siortsis. The championship leader has to withdraw the car. Patrick Schauber looked like he was pit lane bound as well. Meanwhile, Martin Dubek under more pressure from Alberto Nasker. Nasker once again trying to go around the outside at 15. He can't do it there. He goes to the outside again at turn 16. Supremely confident in the karting line. That converts to the inside for 17. Very nicely done by Alberto Nasker. He moves into the lead, and given just how quickly he's managed to get past Dufro and then Dubek, I have to imagine that Nasker can now pull away, but let's wait and see. Ariana Casoli heading into the pits there in the back of shot as well in the Speedhouse car. But Alberto Nasca, the YouTube sensation, is our race leader in these torrid conditions. Has been a very busy boy racing this year, not just in EuroNASCAR 2, also in the Euro Legends, as we've mentioned, and in GT4 cars in Italy as well. But he's got a lot of experience. He's done some racing in the wet before as well. Paul Giuffreau keeping an eye on Martin Dubek. Dubek drifting, I think, a little bit wide there through turn 15, but just about keeps it on the tarmac. Giuffreau bouncing across the curves there. That didn't look comfortable. Almost side by side through turns 18 and 19. Also not comfortable. And you can see how difficult this is. This is such a delicate dance that our drivers are having to perform. They disappear into a cloud of spray. And, oh, Giuffreau pushing it a bit too far. He ends up in the gravel trap. Paul Giuffreau puts the power down to get back out of the gravel, but that's unfortunate for him. None of that concerns Alberto Nasca, though, who is just driving through the field there. Just going past Stefani Mogorovic. She's sharing the #1 Academy Motorsport Alex Caffey car with Michaela Dorchakova this weekend, an all-female lineup for the #1 Academy machine. Oh, and Giuffreau again pushing it a bit too hard. Jill Linster is there in the third position, just ahead of Paul Giuffreau, so Giuffreau lost a couple of positions as a result of that moment earlier on. I believe that just behind them up in 5th place is Claudia Remeggio Capelli, who started well down the order. Capelli has been on a charge in this race in these wet conditions as well. Paul Giuffreau clearly pressing on. Ariana Casoli just getting a little bit in the way there of Jill Linster. Is that the opportunity that Paul Giuffreau needs? It could well be. I think Giuffreau's going to be close enough for a move into turn 6. You can see how much he's having to modulate the throttle. I'm sure he's having to do a lot of oversteer and understeer work as well. Soaring away at the wheel. Car never knows whether it wants to go sideways or go aquaplaning off the circuit. A little bit of both in these conditions, and Paul Giuffreau trying to hound the back of Jill Linster all the while. Drifts a little bit wide there, but squares up the corner nicely, hopefully for a good exit out of turn 10. Linster with some more back markers up ahead. Lena Leubnegger ahead of him. Gets past okay, but again compromises his run through turn 13 a little bit. Can Giuffreau then find a way through? Giuffreau looking to the inside line. That's ambitious. He just about gets it stopped, does he? Yes, he does. Very nicely done by Paul Giuffreau, but that was heart in the mouth driving. He gets himself up into 3rd place, and Jill Linster, unfortunately, taking residence in the all too familiar 4th position slot once again. I'm sure he's going to try and fight back against Giuffreau. But in these conditions, it's very difficult to stay on the track, much less try and make passes on other drivers. Alberto Nasca not having to worry about making passes on anyone other than those going a lap down. Since he managed to get himself past Dubek, Nasca has controlled this race. And with Vladimiros Siortsis in strife, this is a huge move in the championship for Alberto Nasca. Nasca, who took that first win of the season at Vallelunga last time out, an emotional victory for the Italian driver. This is going to be one of the most hard-fought of his career so far. And on the final lap of the race, Paul Giuffreau has managed to get past Martin Dubek. He was 3 seconds behind at the start of the final lap, and somehow Paul Giuffreau has managed to get through into 2nd place. He must have had an incredible final lap. Can he stay there in 2nd? I think he's going to. It's Alberto Nasca that comes around the final corner. He will take victory. And it looks as though 2nd place will go the way of Paul Giuffreau, who snuck up to the rear of Martin Dubek and will claim 35 points for 2nd place. Alberto Nasca, though, is your race winner once again. Nasca, in the wet weather, performs the rain dance better than anybody else. Giuffreau, Dubek, rounding out your podium positions. But but the Italian superstar has done it once again.
Car racing always told me that on the full wet condition the car is great, but I never had the chance to try it. Today was the first time, and I can say, yeah, they're really good in making cars. And well, since the beginning I saw that I had a much better pace, especially for the driving lines. And I said, okay, let's study Dubek, let's see where I can pass him. And as soon as I passed him, I started to push. In the end, I was struggling a bit because I lost grip. Suddenly, the pace went up like 2 to 3 seconds per lap. I don't know if it was the same for the other guys, but I mean, I won, so that's the important thing. I just want to say ciao ragazzi, ciao a tutti, ciao anche amore, ciao che mi state guardando da casa. Spero vi siate divertiti.
Paul Giuffreau with another positive result. He really is coming on strong in his second year in EuroNASCAR 2.
Tell me, how was your race today?
I think it's the definition of a tricky race. Oh my God. I thought when we do the warm-up lap that it will dry kind of fast, but there was just more water after each lap, and yeah, it was horrible. Even when, you know, I tried to overtake Dubek and I went on the gravel, I was like 3 seconds, 4 seconds behind Lindster, and I wasn't able to see the panel for the brake, where was the apex. It was the first time I saw that. I didn't saw anything. So yeah, it was really tricky. I were braking with the time I exit of the last turn. You know, it's approximately 10 seconds I have to brake there because I cannot see in front. So yeah, it was so big congratulations to Alberto because he was really fast. Yeah, it's like that. He were fast. We fight well. I think we fought well during this race to want to P2, to get back to P4 and to finish P2 again. So I have to be happy of that, but of course NASCAR is taking some points of the championship, so I'm not 100% happy, but the race could be worse.
It certainly could be. Vladimiros Siortsis only 3 points clear of Giuffreau now, and NASCAR still very much in the hunt as well in the 2023 EuroNASCAR 2 Championship. It's looking very exciting there. Jack Davidson continuing a successful weekend, taking the Rookie Trophy Championship win, and Claudia Remeggio Capelli with 5th overall, claiming the Legend Trophy order. Alina Loibnegger making it 2 from 2 on her first weekend back in the Lady Trophy in EN2. Moving on to EuroNASCAR Pro, and it's going to be a very interesting race here.
After yesterday's race, we have 4 different championship contenders in EuroNASCAR Pro, and I'm really curious why they should add their names to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So let's go and ask them.
Yeah, I'm going to win this because I really want it. I work so much for this, and keep tuned because I will do it.
Because I know what it takes. I've proved it 2 times, and in this division becoming a champion is not so easy. So there's no margin for mistakes, and that's me.
I mean, I will be the champion this year because I'm the guys older than Ercole. So the title will be for me. It will be the 3rd. So across the finger, I will continue to work with my Speedhouse crew, and we will fight against Zolder. We are a lion here.
Because I'm very fast, I have a good battle in the race, and I think when I have the battle 1-to-1, I'm always the best.
Confident words from all of our championship contenders. But it's Vittorio Garelli who has pole position coming into this one based on the fastest laps from Saturday. Mixed conditions out there on circuit. Everyone showed up to the grid on wets, but quite a few have moved over to slick tyres before the race got started. The 2 cars at the front, Garelli and Giuffreau, they are both on slicks. Kumpen and Lasser are both on wet tyres. Siortsis and a few of the others further back also on the slicks. Let's see which side of the coin is the correct one. As you can see, it's certainly not fully dry, but it's certainly not torrential either. It is Vittorio Garelli that leads into the first corner. Paul Giuffreau under pressure from Anthony Kumpen. Kumpen's wet tyres, since they're treaded, they will come up to temperature quicker, and he moves into second place immediately. So at least in the early going, it looks as though Kumpen on the wets has made the right call. Potentially Garelli and Giuffreau on the slicks not making the right call, at least in the first few corners. Martin Dubek, also on wet tyres, has got past Vladimir Osiortsis. Lasser is on the wets too. But a large number of teams in the 10 or so minutes before the command was given to start engines changed their tyres. Liam Hazeman's further back in the pack also changing onto slicks. Let's see if it pays off for him. Anthony Kumpen was joking, telling everyone, oh yeah, you need to go onto the slick tyres. He's on the wets, the cars around him are on the slicks. And Kumpen, the only one in this top 3 battle on the wet tyres. He's actually struggling a little bit to my eye. Dufresne is struggling to keep the car together. Oh, and a moment's off track as well. Gianmarco Ercoli. Gianmarco Ercoli there with contact. I believe that was with Jack Davidson. That's going to send Ercoli further down the order, and that's huge for Gianmarco, who hasn't had a good weekend to begin with. Registered a rather minimal point score in race 1 of the weekend yesterday, and he's now facing potentially more dramas. Let's see how that works out for him. Paul Dufresne on the slicks up against Kumpen on the wets. And you know what? Dufresne made that look quite easy, even though he was off the racing line in what has to still be quite damp tarmac. Dufresne managed to get the car stopped. That, to me, is an indicator that maybe we are at that slick tyre crossover point. It's been steadily drying out between the EuroNASCAR 2 race and EuroNASCAR Pro. And look at that, Garelli and Dufresne are driving away from Kumpen in 3rd place on his wet tyres. These two both on slicks. It's Garelli versus Dufresne at the head of the order. Dufresne with a lot more confidence, it looks like, carrying the speed more so through turn 13 than Vittorio Garelli. Garelli undoubtedly the more experienced of the two drivers, but he makes an error. He just locks up the tyre, and it's Paul Dufresne who's into the lead. Dufresne again with a dangerous dance to my eye on the damper part of the circuit on the slick tyres, but he's managed to make it work. He is your leader here. He could well be the first ever driver to take a EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 first win in the same season. He took his first win in EuroNASCAR 2 at Vallelunga just a month ago. But he's got a long way to go yet. Anthony Kumpen is there in 3rd place. Lucas Lasser also on the wet tyres, as is Martin Dubek in 5th position. Up into 6th place, just saw that to the back of shot, Liam Hazemans. So Liam Hazemans, who started down in the latter half of the teens in the grid, is already up into the top 6. Av Kumpen, Lasser, Dubek and the others that are on the wet tyres made an error here. Their tyres will get worse and worse as it dries out, and Lucas Lasser looks like he's got a bit more pace underneath him. He gets himself past Anthony Kumpen. Anthony Kumpen falling down to 4th place then. Lucas Lasser, who came into this race just 1 point off of Gianmarco Ercoli in the championship, may well be quids in, and that's Michaela Dorchikova. Oh, Dorchikova looks really frustrated. I'm not sure how her car became damaged, but at least a puncture on that number 1 car. Full course yellow out briefly, but we return to racing on lap 6. Ulysse Delceau under pressure from Gianmarco Ercoli. Ercoli in the number 54 car after contact with Jack Davidson, who is currently just behind him there. Ercoli making his way back through the field. He gets himself past Ulysse Delceau. I think Delceau making that quite easy for him. And look who the next target is, Anthony Kumpen, one of his title rivals. Ercoli closing in on Kumpen then. Just taking so much more speed through turn 13 there, Gianmarco Ercoli. Anthony Kumpen clearly struggling on wet tyres that I think he may have overheated. And that is 5th place, or rather I should say 6th place, sorry, for Gianmarco Ercoli. He's going to keep on moving through the order. Tobias Downhauer up in 3rd place. This is really good for him. He's one of the drivers on the slick tyres as well, as is Liam Hazemans. So the slick tyre drivers heading up the order. Undoubtedly, even though one would maybe go for the conservative strategy a lot of the time, it's pretty clear at this stage that the slicks were the way to go. Lucas Lasser may well be about to lose out to the championship leader. Coming into this one, Oekerli had a 1-point advantage over Lucas Lasser in the championship, and now it is Lasser losing out to Oekerli. This is huge for Gianmarco Oekerli's title aspirations. He goes to the inside line at turn 15. Can he get it done? Not quite. Can he find a way at 16? No, but he's all over the back of Lucas Lasser. The fact that his race is recovering so well after that contact with Jack Davidson could be a defining moment in this 2023 EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. Here he comes, goes by Lucas Lasser. Can he get the lead into the turn? Yes, he can. He gets 5th position then. Later on the brakes, more confident on the brakes, quicker out of the corners. It's clear the slicks were the way to go, and Gianmarco Oekerli gets himself up to 5th position. Anthony Kumpen is positively falling through the order off screen as well. Here's the battle for 3rd place. What can Liam Hasemans do up against Tobias Dauenhauer? Look at how close he is to the back of the 99 car. Dauenhauer later on the brakes there. Carries more speed through turn 13. Hasemans, though, keeping him under pressure. Great battle between these two youngsters. And just going defensive there is Dauenhauer, but I think maybe he caught a bit of the wet tarmac. And he goes straight on. That's going to allow Liam Hasemans to move into 3rd place. Hasemans starting well outside the top dozen. He will be delighted with a podium finish if he can just make it to the flag. Paul Giffreau, meanwhile, is your race leader. Vittorio Gorelli watching on from 2nd position. And look at that, it looks as though Giffreau is being held up there by Max Lanza. But he manages to get through, and now Vittorio Gorelli almost getting past Paul Giffreau. Giffreau was massively held up there through that sequence of corners, and Vittorio Gorelli on this final lap of the race could find a way past Giffreau. However, they approach the final couple of corners, and I think Paul Giffreau has done enough. He's going to write himself into the history books if he can just make it through turns 20 and 21. He will be the youngest ever winner of a EuroNASCAR Pro race. He's got just one more apex between him and history. Bringing RDV competition back to victory lane will mean so much to Paul Giffreau. He powers across the line, and he is the youngest ever winner in EuroNASCAR Pro. Huge congratulations to the young Frenchman and RDV competition, but that's still great for Vittorio Gorelli to take 2nd place in that race. He will get himself closer to the championship lead as a result of that. Paul Giffreau, though, the man of the moment. 2 first-time wins in 2 months.
What a race! we decided, I think, the first to put the slick tire, and I wasn't really enthusiastic about it. I was just, we will struggle the 5 first lap, and then we will maybe catch the guys in wet. But since the first lap, the slicks were as fast as the wet, so I don't know what to say. The car was just perfect. A big thanks to RDV that made the car. I never had a car like that. I could enter with too much speed, but the car was turning. I could put flat, and it was just going. Oh, I'm just so happy, just so happy. Just at the last laps, the Lapet guys didn't want me to win, but it's like that. And yeah, okay.
Team boss of RDV competition here with me in EuroNASCAR Pro. It was a long time coming, and now you're back in victory lane. How is it?
Yes, 5 years. The last one with Fred happened in Red Hatch in 2019. So I'm very happy. I'm very proof of Paul. Paul is a very good driver, and I think we have prepared the perfect car for this race. He's very good. We are very happy.
Congratulations, so good to see you back here, and yeah, have fun celebrating this race.
Yes, you can be sure of that. Thank you.
Thank you, back to you, Adam. And now the points.
There are the points, just 2 points in it between Oekerli and Lasser. Vittorio Gorelli well up there in 3rd place. Anthony Kumpen on 247. That's a big blow to his championship. He'll be looking to recover next time out at Oschersleben. Paul Giffreau taking the juniors, and Challenger Trophy going to Fabrizio Armetta. A very interesting weekend at the Autodrom Most. Wet conditions greeting our drivers. Some drivers truly excelling in these tricky weathers. And we will now finish out the regular season in just a month's time. We head to Oschersleben for rounds 9 and 10 in EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2.